Hi, and welcome to Yoga Poses to help combat depression. Today we're going to be focusing on heating and energizing the body as a way to break up some of the sluggishness that's often within us when we're struggling with our depressive symptoms. A couple of reminders for today. If at any time any of the postures don't feel available to you or cause you any sort of pain, please respect your body. Don't hesitate to take a child's pose or step off of your mat at any time. This also means that if your body is saying that you can do more, allow yourself the space to push yourself. Sometimes when we're struggling with our depression, we don't feel that we can do a lot of stuff. We feel constrained and conflicted. So if your body is telling you to hold it for just another breath, pause, breathe deeper, allow yourself those moments in your practice. Secondly, this practice is not meant as a substitute, more of a supplement to what you are already doing to manage your depression. If you are currently taking medications or seeking therapy, do not discontinue those practices. Use all of these postures as a way to enhance what you are already doing that is working for you. Let's begin. Come to find your nice, comfortable seated posture, whether that's in Sukhasana or half lotus or full lotus. You're also going to want to have available to you today 2 blocks and a strap. If you like sitting on a bolster, I invite you to take that now and just gently come to settle into your first seated posture. Begin to close the eyes or soften the gaze to a point on the floor. Connecting with the breath, just find the natural rhythm. If the hands are on the legs, I invite you to turn the palms to face upward. Today our practice is focused on receiving energy. So we want to keep the body open and receptive. We take these first few moments of our practice just to center. Feel the connection of your sit bones to the seat you're on, lengthening from the base of your spine up the crown of your head. Allow the breath to travel all the way down into the belly. Allow the exhale to be complete. With each inhale, create space in the body for your practice and for new experiences today. With each exhale, push out all of the stale air that's lingering in the body. Depression often has a stagnant or stale feeling attached to it. So in these first few moments, clear out what no longer serves you. And if it's in your practice, I invite you to bring your hands to prayer position, Anjali Mudra, touching your thumbs to your sternum, and gently bow your head to your hands. Setting your intention for today's practice. So knowing that we are working to wake up the body, the mind, and the spirit, maybe that intention is focused on challenging yourself, energizing the body. Your mat is a space of healing, so I invite you to set an intention focused on whatever type of healing you need today. I'm closing this portion of our practice with 2 cleansing breaths. Inhale deeply through the nose. Exhale at the mouth. Inhale deeply. Exhale fully. Okay, gently blinking eyes open, coming to fully present. Now, if you're on a bolster, it's gonna be best if you come off and just take a flat seat on the earth. And we're gonna make our way into staff posture. So extend the legs long in front of you, sitting up nice and tall. So we're lifting the chest, finding some brightness in the heart. Shoulders are back and down, and fingers can be right alongside. Pull the toes towards the face. Now this is a very active posture, so we're using a lot of our muscles here just to warm ourselves up. Our core is pulling up and in. Our legs are really strong. I'm just breathing deeply. Come back to the intention. So to take our first flow, we're going to inhale the arms up to the sky, following with the gaze, and then exhale, coming forward. Now, if the feet are not available to you in your forward fold, this is when your strap would come in handy. So taking the strap and placing it around the ball mounts of the feet, sliding the hands back in behind you is an option here. If this doesn't feel very comfortable and you don't like that either, just let go of the strap and allow the hands to come to rest alongside of the legs as far down as they may go. You can feel free to keep a gentle bend in the knees if that supports your low back, but we're working to get those knees planting into the earth as close we can. Inhale, brightening the chest up, and then exhale, fold it forward. Allow the head and neck to drop. So maintaining connection with the breath. One more in our forward fold. Inhale and exhale. And inhale to just walk your hands back up. We're going to pull the right leg into the body. So just finding the inner thigh. And sometimes our hips have a tendency to work themselves to the outside. So just make sure you square everything back to the front of your mat. Left leg is planting into the earth. Right knee is gearing down towards the ground as best as you can. Inhale, arms will lift. And exhale, we're flowing forward. Again, finding the strap or hands alongside. Pulling that low belly up and in. One more breath. Good. Inhale to walk yourself back up. Switching the direction of the legs. Slide the right leg out in front of you. Left leg pulls up and in. Now, what was available to you on one side may not be available to you on the other. So throughout your practice today, just respect both sides of your body. You're going to be able to access certain things, so allow yourself an opportunity to investigate that. Inhale to come up, and exhale, flow it forward. Dropping the head and neck. Pulling low belly up and in. The shoulders have crept up to the ears, relax them down. Last breath here. Good. Inhale, begin to walk yourself up. And this time we're going to pull our right leg in to meet our left. Bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana. So the hands can come underneath. I like to clasp them underneath and then rest the thumbs on the big toes. Sitting up nice and tall. Inhale here. And exhale, forward fold. You can use the elbows as a little encouragement for the knees. I've been practicing a long time and I don't know if my knees will ever come to the earth, but I like to just say maybe in my next rebirth. Just breathe deeply. Instead of rounding in like a turtle, we want to keep a nice flat back, so it's almost as if you're shooting the nose past the toes. One more breath. Good. Inhale to come up. So we're going to find a little flow here that's going to engage the core, keeping us nice and bright and lifted. So there's a couple modifications here, and I'll offer them throughout the practice. So for the full posture, what we're going to do is we're going to stay in our Baddha Konasana. We're going to inhale the arms up to the sky. From here, keeping that spine nice and tall, just leaning on the sit bones, slide the legs out. So you can kind of drag them at first to see where you're at, pulling that low belly up and in. Inhale here. Exhale, pulling the legs in. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, slide the legs out. Inhale, in. Exhale, out. Inhale, in. Trying to stay as tall as you can. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale, and follow that exhale all the way down. I know that's really tough. It's hard for me too. So just breathe. One resting breath here. On your next inhale, coming up. And if you can, just cross your legs in front of you and coming right over to tabletop posture. If coming over the knees isn't in your practice, just make your way here, however that feels comfortable for you. So the first thing we want to do when we get into tabletop is check in with our alignment. So we're just making sure that our wrists are in line with our shoulders and our knees are in line with our hips. When you look back between your legs, you shouldn't see your feet. So if you do, just flush them behind the thighs and gaze is about 3 to 5 inches in front of you. Elbow creases are shining forward and the thumb and first finger are pressing into the mat. So we're just going to be working on opening the spine, moving through some cat-cow. So on the inhale, we drop our pelvis towards the ground, gaze comes up. Exhale, we round the spine, chin to chest, low belly up and in. Inhale, coming forward, tilt the pelvis, gaze up. Exhale, rounding the spine. And just flow on your own breath. Finding a wave-like motion moving through the spine. So here we're really using this posture as a way to break up any kind of stiffness that may be lingering in the body. So depression is very heavy, kind of feels like a weighted blanket around us all the time. So moving through some cat-cow provides us the opportunity to just shake a little bit of that heaviness off. Opening our heart and opening our back. Find 2 more rounds on your own breath. We'll all meet in a neutral spine. From here, we're going to tuck our toes under, sitting our hips back, reach up, finding your first down dog of your practice. So maybe just shake the head yes, shake the head no. Feet are about hip distance apart, heels are pressing towards the mat, even if they don't touch. This is an opportunity if you like to walk your legs out a little bit, finding some movement here. So we're going to work a little bit in strength here. So from our downward facing dog, we're going to inhale to come forward, finding plank. So plank is going to be keeping our wrists in line with our shoulders. Now, anytime you can drop the knees to the mat. This is a perfectly acceptable modification. If you'd like to stay high, you're keeping those legs nice and lifted. And just breathe deeply. Inhaling and exhaling. One more breath. Good. Inhale those hips to the sky. And exhale, drop the knees, sit back for a child's pose. If the wrists are feeling a little tired, don't hesitate to bring the arms alongside of you. Maybe roll them out a little bit, let the shoulders fall in. And just breathe. One more resting breath right here. And then when you're ready, your arms are back, bring them in front. Coming through a mini table and then up for downward facing dog. So just pausing here for a moment. Press the thumb and first finger into the mat. Reach the tailbone towards the sky. And on your next inhale, bring the gaze to the hands and step one foot and then the other to meet your hands. If you didn't make it all the way to the top of your mat, that's okay. Just walk yourself up there, finding your forward fold. So forward fold is a great posture for depression. It helps release our shoulders. It's a mini inversion. So we're going to be working on adjusting our perspective, so kind of going upside down, which is what we need when we're struggling. We need a different perspective on things. So a mini inversion is a great way to find that. If the hands don't come all the way to the earth, finding two blocks is a great modification. Or even taking ragdoll. Whatever feels comfortable for you. Try not to lock the knees. Keep the energy leaning forward. Right here, just imagine the crown of your head opening. Imagine all the thoughts that don't serve you falling to the floor in front of you. Kind of making a little pile. Things like hopelessness or doubt, fear. Them all gather right in front of you. Just know that they can stay there for your practice. You don't need them right now. Sealing the crown of your head up. Gentle bend in the knees, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Inhaling all the way. Head comes up last. Roll your shoulders back and down. Beautiful. So if you didn't make it to the top of your mat, just step your way forward. We're going to move into some standing series. So we're going to be working in Warrior 2 today. So what I want you to do is take your right foot and step it back and behind you. So the first thing is bring that back pinky toe edge parallel to the back edge of the mat and look at your front heel and make sure that it's intersecting with the instep of that back foot. So finding that alignment is really important. It's going to help keep your hips nice and open and make the posture more available. Don't feel afraid to take up a lot of space on your mat in this pose. You're going to need it. So if you stepped back and were kind of short, maybe hop that foot back a little bit more. On your inhale, you're going to float your arms up to the sky and almost think about the intention of pinching a pencil behind your shoulder blades. So our heart is really open, our arms are floating, and our drishti is out over that front middle finger. Inhaling here, and exhale, bend into that front knee. Now we don't want our front knee to go over our ankle, so if you find that that happens, you might need to open up your stance a little bit wider. Your pose might be here, it might be here. We're working to bring front thigh parallel to the floor, but that takes time. So we're going to find a little bit of a flow here today. So on the inhale, you're going to shift forward and place that front forearm down on the thigh, palm faces up, Back arm reaches up overhead, bicep to ear. Gaze can be up at the sky or down at the ground, depending on your body. You know that front leg is working. Breathe into it. Grounding through the legs, inhale to come center. And exhale, drop that back arm down. Front arm reaches up overhead, reverse warrior. So we're using a lot of our proud and strong postures to help us with depression. Finding our strength. Inhale to come center. Beautiful. And then inhale, straighten that front leg. You might want to just hop your back foot in or just scooch it in just a little bit. Reaching the fingertips forward, front arm comes down to the shin, back arm reaches up to the sky for triangle pose. Now, if you feel like that bottom arm can come down a little lower, feel free to drop it down, and that also might be a nice place to find your block. So you can take that on any height. Thinking you're in between two panes of glass here. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Rooting into the legs. Inhale, lift. And exhale, warrior two. Bend that front knee. Beautiful. Taking one more breath in our warrior two. Inhale, straighten that front leg. Turn the front toes to match your back toes. So you're gonna end up in a wide-legged posture. Hands will come to the hips. We're gonna take our hands and clasp them behind our back. Inhale to pull the knuckles down, gaze comes up, open that heart, and exhale, float forward, lifting the arms above the head. Now they may not come very far depending on your shoulder availability, so don't worry about that, you'll get there. It's important to keep the palms working towards one another. Sometimes we have a tendency to splay the hands out. We want to keep the intention of squeezing in. Breathing deeply. One more breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Inhale to come up. And exhale, release the hands. So we're gonna move to the opposite side. From here, turn your left toes back to the top of your mat. Gaze moves forward, and then inhale, step both feet to the front of your mat. Beautiful. Moving to the opposite side. We're gonna start by bringing that left foot back and behind us, making the pinky toe edge of the foot parallel to the back edge of the mat. Front heel is intersecting with the instep of the back foot. Inhale to float the arms, find your drishti, your focal point, and then exhale to bend into that front knee. Again, widen your stance if your knee comes over your ankle. We don't want the knee over, we want it stocking right on top. Energy coming down the pinky toe edge of that back foot. Breathing into the front leg. It's a lot of work here. Moving into our side angle, inhale, shift the body forward, front arm down, palm faces up. Exhale, top arm overhead, and gaze can be up at the sky or down at the ground. Try not to dump your weight into your forearm. We want to keep intention in the core, so think about using your core to keep the arm lifted, as if you could pick that arm up and stay in the same spot. Good, ground into the legs. Inhale, come center, keep that front knee bent, and exhale, bring it back. Reverse warrior on this side. Chest is open. Breathing deeply. Inhale to come center. Exhale, drop the shoulders. Inhale, straighten the leg without locking it. Maybe walk that back foot in just a little bit, shifting forward, front arm down, back arm reaches up and behind. And again, if you want to find the block or the floor, you're welcome to slide that hand down. Gaze is up at the sky, center, or down at the ground. Think about being in between two panes of glass. So pulling the hips under the body, shoulders coming down the back. Inhale, rooting to come up. And then on the exhale, turn your toes again. So finding that wide-legged pose here. So we're gonna take our toes and kind of put them out to the side, pigeon them out just a little bit, moving into goddess posture. So from this pose, we're going to keep our hands on our hips. Inhale here. And then exhale, sitting down, pull the knees out to the pinky toe edges of the foot. This is a lot of work. It's definitely burning up some of that sleepiness, some of the heaviness in the body from our depression. And we're just breathing. If you'd like to, you can float the arms to cactus. And we're gonna find a little flow here. So inhale, straighten the legs, reach the arms, gaze comes up. Exhale, sit down. Inhale to come up, squeezing the legs. Exhale down. Beautiful. So maybe finding a mantra here. Inhaling up, strength. And exhaling down, power. Inhaling up, strength. And exhaling down, power. Just continue to flow on your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. I know it's a lot of work. Exhale. One more, just like this. Inhale. And exhale, sit down and hold. Hands can come to prayer. And just connect to your energy and your strength. Know that in this moment, you are stronger than your depression and stronger than what your mind is telling you about your body. One more breath. Good. Inhale, straighten. Turn those toes forward. And exhale, just take a nice forward fold. That should feel so good. Maybe sway the hips from side to side. Take a nice cleansing breath. And then on your next inhale, hands come to hips, coming all the way up. We're going to turn towards the front of our mat, stepping the feet together. So making our way down onto the earth, we've got some postures we're going to do on the ground. So starting in our Tadasana, our mountain pose. So this is our strong foundational pose. So we're keeping the chest lifted, tailbone is tucking under, palms facing forward. So stand in your mountain pose how you want to stand in your life. Strong, steady, purposeful. Inhale, arms will reach up to the sky. And exhale, flow forward and down. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands will come to shin back flatness. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, plant the hands. Step one foot back at a time. We're meeting in that high plank. Inhale here. Exhale, drop the knees, untuck the toes, and lower the chest all the way in between the hands. Rooting the big toes into the mat, slide the arms right underneath the shoulder blades, hug the elbows in. Inhale to come up, baby cobra. So back bending is really good for us. It helps activate Kundalini. And Kundalini is your life force that brings forward your ability to begin self-realization and free yourself from suffering. So we're unraveling it. Inhale, and then exhale, come down. We're gonna flow like that a couple more times. Inhale to come up, unravel that energy. And exhale, lower it down. Inhale to come up, pull that energy from the base of the spine. Exhale down. You can find a little bit of a larger movement. Inhale, come up, maybe all the way from cobra. Exhale down. 2 more. Pulling the energy up. Exhale, it comes down. Last one. Inhale, pulling up. And exhale, flowing forward. Making a little pillow with your hands. Resting your cheek down. And it might feel good here to bring the feet up and just sway them a little bit from side to side. So back bending can be tough on the low back. So this just helps release it. And bring the legs to center, release them down. Pulling the arms back alongside you, we're just gonna take Sphinx pose. So this time the elbow is gonna come in line with the shoulder. So this is a little bit more of a modified back bend. So if you felt like Cobra was too much for you, this is a great pose to take. So our hands are firmly planted on the ground and we're pressing the elbows. So instead of sinking in between here, we're lifting up nice and tall and just looking up at the sky. So Kundalini is said to lay at the base of our spine like a coiled snake. And when we practice certain postures, it unravels that energy, unravels the snake as it moves up and through us, through all the chakras. And this is our divine power, which is the exact energy we need when we're dealing with our depression. One more breath here, turn the corners of your mouth up. Inhale. And exhale, allow yourself to lower, move the hands in towards the ribcage, pressing back and finding a child's pose. So if you like wide-legged with big toes touching, knees as wide as the mat, that's a beautiful option here. Or if you like more traditional, knees together, also an option. If the forehead doesn't come all the way down to the ground, feel free to take a block and place it right underneath of you so that you can rest that third eye comfortably and not feel like you have to strain. It's always good to come into child's pose after back bending, countering a lot of the movement that we do by rounding the spine. Last breath. Inhale, begin to just walk yourself up. So if you didn't grab a block, just make sure you get one and take it with you. So we're just gonna have our block. We're gonna come to sit down onto our sit bones, keeping the feet flat on the earth, rolling down onto your back, nice and gentle. And that should feel good after all the work that we've been doing. So we've got a little bit more to do before we find our Savasana. So from our reclining posture, we're gonna take a couple rounds of bridge. So bridge is lifting the hips up towards the sky. I'm gonna give you 3 different options to take, and then we'll repeat it just a couple times. So the first option is you would use this block and pulling the heels a little bit closer to the sit bones than they might have fallen. You just inhale to lift the hips and place the block right underneath your tailbone and let your tailbone rest on it. Hands can be down alongside or up and overhead. This is a beautiful restorative pose. I love this pose. It's probably one of my favorites. It's great for releasing low back pain and just giving you a little bit of comfort in that pelvis area. So you can feel free to take this option. If you'd like to move a little deeper, you would take the block out. Rounding into the feet, keeping about a hip distance apart between the knees, rolling the spine from the base of the spine up. Inhale, roll the spine up and pressing into the feet. So this is option 2, much more active, breathing deeper. And then option 3 would be we're staying here, but then we wiggle the arms underneath the body, clasping the fingers, pulling the knuckles down towards the heels. Release your glutes. I have a teacher that says a grape should be able to live in your butt cheeks safely during bridge. Grounding into your feet. Continue to breathe deeply for 3 more nice long breaths. Inhale, squeezing those inner thighs towards each other. Exhale. Last breath here. See if you can brighten even a little bit further. And the exhale, releasing the arms and roll down one vertebrae at a time. And then it might feel good. Pull the knees into the chest and rock a little bit from side to side. Beautiful. So you can feel free to take those variations of bridge at any time throughout the day. They're great resetting postures. So if you can just find a quiet space where you can lay down and do a couple rounds of each of those, they're really helpful. Our next pose, we're moving into shoulder stand. So we're gonna take modified shoulder stand to start and then move into some of the more full variations. So again, you're gonna want that block. So if you moved it out of your way, bring it back. Inhale to lift the hips just like you would do for restorative bridge, and then let the tailbone sit down. Hands are gonna be alongside. And from here, we're just gonna lift one leg up to the sky, kind of finding a balance on the block, and then the other. So feet can be flexed or relaxed, wherever it feels good for you. And arms can be down alongside or out like a T. You might have to adjust the block a little bit, kind of scooch your back and your sit bones around. We're just pausing here. If the arms are down alongside you, turn the palms up. Just breathe. So this is modified shoulder stand, and the posture is called Sarvangasana. So this pose is for the entire body. Often referred to the mothering posture. It provides so many wonderful benefits for us. And you can feel free to continue to stay here, or if you'd like to move towards the deeper option, you're just gonna bend the knees really slowly. Notice all the sensation in the legs as you begin to lower the feet down towards the ground. And once your feet are on the ground, inhale to lift the hips, and exhale, drop them down. So for full pose, you're gonna be standing on your shoulders. So once we get into it, I don't want you to look around the room or look at the people next to you, because that could cause you some damage in your neck. So once we're in the pose, don't worry about what I'm doing. Stay attuned to your breath. Try not to move the head back and forth. So in order to get into this pose, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna place your hands on the ground. And I like to just come onto my finger pads. So from here, we're going to rock our knees in towards our face, and then with some intention, inhale, leaning them forward, and then come to catch the low back. Now, keep the knees nice and low, because you're gonna snuggle your shoulders underneath your body and walk your shoulders underneath as well, okay?
So once you're here, you might get to this point and say, that's good enough for me, and that's perfectly fine. If you'd like to take this posture further, on the inhale, you straighten the legs up towards the sky. Now, like I said, don't look around. Just stay focused. Maybe find a drishti at your toes. And you want to think about brightening that pelvis up towards the sky. Just breathe in. If you'd like to work a little bit more, you can stay here, or maybe you come and drop one foot behind you, move your props out of your way. Maybe come up, dropping the opposite foot behind you. Back up. And if you'd like to go for plow, shoot your hips out a little bit further in front of you and drop both feet behind you. If they come to the earth, then you can release your hands down towards the ground. If they don't, you need to keep your hands supporting your low back. Just breathe. You're activating your thyroid, recirculating the blood. One more breath. Good. To come out of plow, if you're here, you're going to pull your knees in towards your ears. Extend the legs back up. Inhale. And then to release, exhale, pull the knees in. Support yourself with your hands and gently, with control, lower yourself down to the ground. Extend the legs long. Turn the palms up. Just breathe. So we're going to take a counter to that pose. So what I'd like you to do is just gently sit yourself up. And you're going to grab your blocks. And so you're going to take your blocks and place them behind you. So you're going to take one and place it long, and the other one kind of like a T. So we're going to take supported fish, which is a great counter for your shoulder stand. So what you're going to do is you're going to take yourself and lay your shoulder blades right in between on the block. And then the top one is a little rest for the head. So you can kind of balance that however feels good. If you'd like to drop the block down to the lower height, that's available to you too. So I kind of landed a little bit low on my back, so you just want to make sure you really find at the base of your shoulder blades. And then the arms will come out wide. And if you still feel like you want to stretch a little deeper, you can always remove that top block and let the head hang. So this is not only a beautiful counter to our shoulder stand, but also a very open and vulnerable pose. Depression keeps us closed off and guarded from the world. And so here we're really practicing heart opening. Learning how to trust the world and lead with an undefended heart. Just breathe. Two more breaths. Beautiful. So to come out of this pose, we're just going to pull our arms in underneath us and gently support ourselves, coming up off the block, all the way up. Beautiful. So from here, I want you to move your props out of the way and come to rest on your back. So We're moving into our meditation, our Savasana. So if there's anything in your body that's feeling like it needs a little attention, maybe hug the knees in. If it likes to have a little twist, feel free to drop the knees from side to side. And then once you're ready, you're just gonna lay onto your back and allow your feet to splay out, palms facing upward to receive that energy. And just gently close the eyes.
If you have more time to spend in this Savasana, I encourage you to stay here as long as feels comfortable for you. If you only have as long as this segment, just settle in. Allow yourself to be supported by the floor that you're on, and I'll call you back. Let go of any tension in the jaw or the shoulders. And just know there's nothing left for you to do. There's nowhere for you to be. Begin to deepen your breath. Consciously fill your belly full of air, breathing life back into your fingers and into your toes. Gently open and close the jaw if that feels good for you, or taking a full body stretch, arms up overhead, fingertips extending to the floor, reaching energy in both directions. Awakening for the second time today. If it feels good, hug your knees into your chest before gently coming to rest on your right side in fetal position. Pause here for the last few moments of your practice, allowing your physical manifestation and your consciousness to realign. On your next inhale, slowly but deliberately come back to a seated posture, and we'll all meet here with our eyes gently closed and our hands in prayer. We end our practice exactly as we began, seated and connected to the breath. We're calling to mind the intention that you set at the beginning of this practice, noticing how this seated posture feels different than the one that you had when you first stepped on your mat today. Cultivating a feeling of gratitude for being able to come together and share in these asanas, and for all that you were able to do both on and off your mat. Let it be enough. Breathe deeply into the goodness and the spaciousness of your heart here, knowing that today is your awakening. Thank you all for sharing and practice with me today. The light in me honors and blesses the light in each of you. Namaste.